Daydreamaholic by C. Don McCallum. Chapter 15. I can't act this out, Matt said, looking at the clue he'd been given. His jaw dropped. He looked stumped, but his hair looked really good. Someone must have helped him out with his cowlick. Sammy held up the little hourglass timer. Okay, get ready, she turned the timer over. Go. How many words? Someone yelled. Matt counted on his fingers, then held up 4. 4 words. He nodded. He opened his mouth and held out his arms like he was singing. It's a song. Matt nodded. Marcie and Sammy watched Matt struggle to act out the clue. They laughed. So did Marcie's mom, who was selling homemade cookies a few feet away. I'm glad I don't have to guess this one, Sammy said. Me too. He's so cute. Look at him dancing around, Sammy giggled. Matt was jumping up and down like he was on a pogo stick. Yeah, he's a sweet guy. Sammy didn't say anything. She just flashed her most mischievous smile. Marcie smiled back and gave her a little shove. Hey, Sammy yelled. You'll mess up the timer. Marcie looked around the gym as Matt finished acting out his clue. Everywhere kids were hanging around together. Everyone seemed to be having a good time, but everyone seemed kind of nervous too. Time, Sammy yelled as the last pieces of sand fell in the timer. What was it? Somebody yelled. Pop goes the weasel, Matt said, defeated and worn out from all that jumping around. He collapsed on the floor and all the girls giggled. Hey, what do you say we go dance? Marcie suggested, bringing new energy to the group. Let's go, Sammy yelled. Both girls grabbed one of Matt's hands and pulled him up. He followed behind, his joy renewed by the thought of not having to play another round of charades. The sparkle of the disco ball and rainbow of flashing lights shimmered all over the gym and onto the small group dancing near the DJ. His equipment. The smell of perfume and pepperoni pizza filled the air. Everyone laughed and pointed, chattered and smiled. Marcie, Sammy, and Matt moved to the beat in the little circle they had made. They tried out their new moves that they'd been working on in their bathrooms and bedrooms anytime they had a moment alone. Sometimes the moves were executed to perfection. Other times they all burst out laughing at an arm that was too jerky or a funny expression on someone's face. They imitated moves they had seen on TV on the dance floor. They especially imitated each other. They were having such a great time, it took Marcie a while to notice who was dancing a few feet behind Sammy. Brandon, and he was with Tabitha. Marcie's smile became forced. Her heart started beating even faster than it had been after they started dancing. She tried not to stare, but her eyes kept pulling over to where Brandon danced with her. Oh no, Marcie thought, and quickly looked back to her friends and making herself smile as big as everyone else. Tabitha saw me looking over there. As if that weren't enough, Tabitha smiled smugly over at Marcie and danced a little harder. She flipped her hair. She laughed. Marcie tried to stay focused on looking at her friends, at the decorations, at the people getting cookie crumbs all over themselves at the tables, but she had to know. Did Brandon look like he was having a good time? Just a quick glance, she thought, moving her feet mindlessly to the rhythm. Then maybe I'll trade places with somebody so I can't see them anymore. Marcie did it. She looked over. She saw Tabitha holding her hand up to her mouth. Brandon leaned in to hear what she was saying, and Tabitha's eyes were locked on Marcie the whole time. Tabitha dropped her hand down and laughed. Then Brandon turned around. He looked directly at Marcie. Eye contact. And Brandon laughed. Marcie's heart broke into a million pieces. The world around her was falling away in big chunks. She didn't know what to do. She knew she couldn't keep dancing. Her knees were so weak, even standing was becoming impossible, and smiling was the last thing on her mind. I've got to get out of here, she thought. I'm going to the bathroom, she yelled over the music. I'll be back in a minute. But she couldn't hide the strain in her face as she stormed off the dance floor. Marcie hid herself away in the bathroom and tried to hold back the tears. On the other side of the heavy bathroom door, everybody was having a great time laughing, dancing, and talking, and here she was cooped up in there, alone. I'm not going to cry, she thought, and took a deep breath. I'm not going to let her get the best of me any more. She pulled off some tissue and wiped her eyes. Taking another deep breath, she stepped out of the stall to face the mirror. She thought about what her mom said. She thought about the practice conversations she had imagined in her bathroom at home. Could I talk to Tabitha about it? She wondered. I know I need to talk to her, but how could I do it without freaking out? I mean, I kind of daydreamed about it, but it couldn't really work, could it? She took another deep breath. If it goes bad, what else is new? If it goes well, talk about a dream come true. It was worth a shot. And the bathroom door opened. It was Tabitha, and she was actually alone. Without acknowledging Marcie's existence, Tabitha walked over to get a paper towel. Just a few feet away from the invisible Marcie, Tabitha blotted the perspiration off her face and neck, careful not to ruin her makeup. This is it, she told herself. This is my chance. Remember, keep calm, keep calm. Then from somewhere deep inside, Marcie's voice emerged and filled her throat. Tabitha, she ventured, listen, I need to talk to you about something. Did those words just come out of her mouth? It didn't matter that Tabitha didn't even look at her. Marcie went on, it's no secret that I like Brandon. Stay calm, Marcie. But I would never pretend to believe that he would ever like me more than he likes you. Everyone knows that. Tabitha stopped for a second, looked at her, and pulled off a fresh paper towel. She didn't say a word. So, Marcie continued, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't pick on me about him anymore. It hurts and embarrasses me a lot. Tabitha threw her paper towels at the trash, missing. Well, Tabitha said, sounding miffed, you're just so obvious about it. Marcie didn't like the tone of Tabitha's voice, but she knew she had to keep cool. Stay calm. The last thing she wanted was for this to get out of hand. How would it look if she was fighting Brandon's date in the bathroom after storming off the dance floor like that, after all the things that happened this week? I know, and I'm going to stop, Marcie said. It's just going to take some time for me to get over him and face the fact that you're the one he likes. Tabitha shifted her weight. Marcie wondered if anyone had ever talked to her like that before. She had stunned herself as much as she had Tabitha. Then she added in a quiet voice, if I did anything to hurt you, I'm sorry. And she really meant it. Tabitha turned and fluffed her hair in the mirror. Well, okay, but you better tone it down. Tabitha wasn't being defensive, not like how Marcie would have expected her to be, but Marcie could tell she meant what she said. Taking one last look in the mirror, Tabitha walked out of the bathroom as if nothing had happened. Marcie stood in disbelief for a minute. Her words were throbbing in her head. I can't believe I just did that. She said it out loud. She was so shocked. In a haze, she smoothed down her hair and walked through the bathroom door herself. Outside the bathroom, Matt was holding 2 cups of punch, leaning against the wall. He jumped when he saw Marcie. She stood in front of him in the strange silence of the hallway between the gym and the cafeteria, between the music and the squeals of laughter. Matt broke the silence. How's it going? He asked nervously. Oh, fine, Marcie said with a shocked look on her face. She looked up and down the hallway for Tabitha. You didn't happen to see a monkey pass by here, did you? Matt laughed. No, this is the Fall Fling, not the county zoo. Although, he said, setting down the cups of punch, I might be able to help you out. If the lady wants a monkey, I'll give her a monkey. Matt walked around scratching his head, his legs bowed. Ooh-oh, ah, ah, ah. Marcie had the first real gut laugh she'd had all week. Well, what about Tabitha McLean? What about her? Matt was confused, but he liked to see her in a good mood. I just confronted Tabitha in the bathroom. No, you did not, he said, springing a foot in the air, almost knocking over the punch. Yes, she screamed, flinging her hands in front of her face. I saw her come out just now, but I had no idea. What did you say? I just asked her to stop picking on me about Brandon. Matt stood in awe, his chin practically hanging on the floor. I don't know if it did any good, she said, but I sure feel a lot better. Then a thought came to her, almost bursting her bubble. I hope she doesn't go blab to everyone about it. She was a little worried. This may not be over yet. Who cares what she says? Matt interjected. He threw his hands up in the air. You have so many people who care about you and who would think you're cool for standing up to her like that. You think so? Marcie said, not believing him. Yeah, I know I do. And then he added, You're my new hero. Marcie smiled, blushed. Really? Of course, he reassured her, blushing a little himself. Oh, yeah, I got this for you. He handed her a cup of punch. I'd like to propose a toast, he said, suddenly very suave. To my hero, Marcie Taylor. They clinked their paper cups together. Thanks. She took a sip, and you know it really wasn't that hard. I've been thinking about what I wanted to say to her since after school today. You know, kind of daydreaming about it. And when she came into the bathroom alone, if you can believe that, I knew I had to take a chance. Well, I'm impressed. Hey, since I seem to be in the mood to get stuff off my chest, I want to thank you for being such a good friend to me lately. Oh, I didn't do anything special. But you did. I mean, not many guys would pick up a girl's stuff like you did and make sure I was all right like you did. Matt turned bright red. Hey, what are friends for? She gave him her biggest, brightest smile that she'd been able to muster in weeks. They both sipped their punch and shuffled their feet. Hey, Matt. Yeah. Remember how you asked me to go with you to the dance? Yeah. He didn't seem real happy that she was bringing that up. Wasn't it humiliating enough that she said no? Is it too late to say yes? Speechless, Matt held his arm out to her in his most gentlemanly pose and escorted his date to the dance floor. This was a whole lot better than anything Marcie could have imagined. Thank you for listening to Daydreamaholic by C. Don McCallum. If you're enjoying this story, please consider sharing it with someone you know, and please like the video and subscribe to this channel to help others discover these stories.